Harry on, welcome back. Upavishta Konasana. Upavishta just means seated, Kona is angle, so seated angle. So Upavishta Konasana is actually easier to say than what we say in English, which is a wide angle seated forward fold. So for once it's worth learning the Sanskrit. This is going to continue from the Paschimottanasana, the Baddha Konasana and the Janu Shirshasana. We're still working on our legs and a lot of the stuff in our hips. We're going to start off doing the move, and then we're going to do some preparatory work. Then we're going to do a little bit of anatomy, and then we're going to go back to the pose and we're going to see the difference. So let's jump in. So for this particular stretch we're going to need cushion, perhaps 2, maybe 3, a blanket and possibly a block. So don't get hung up on cushions, anything you have laying around the house, they're not exactly matching. But basically what we're going to do, after we get rid of that, is we're going to have something a bit comfortable to sit on. I use a rolled blanket, but if you want a bit of extra height, you can use a cushion. Because again, we're doing a forward fold, and we're going to let gravity take over and bring us down towards the floor. For me, I use the rolled blanket, and you put it around halfway along the long edge of your mat, and basically all we're going to do is we're going to wide angle, as it says. We're going to make an angle of around about 90 degrees with our legs out in front of us. Now what's important here is that your feet are pointing straight to the ceiling. You don't want inward rotation and you don't want excessive external rotation. But straight away, as soon as you sit in this pose, you're going to start feeling your gracilis and your adductor muscles. They're already going to be on a strain, and if you're like me, you're also going to feel a squeeze in the hamstring. So the move itself is like all the others. We're going to start here in the position, we're going to lift up Urdhva Hasta, and we're going to fold forward from the waist. Now I can only get like here, and then I stop, I block. It's already coming on really strong here. When you're in the pose, you're going to put your arms down. Eventually we'd like to get our elbows down. If you look in the book, you're actually flat to the floor. And again, this is yoga for people who are, not those Instagram people who can do this. This is for real people like me and you, and we can only do so much. So we start off, we fold forward, and we get as far as we can go, and then we drop down our hands. Now from here, it's the same as before. You're going to use your muscles to bring yourself forward. You're going to use these glute muscles to drag yourself forward. And if you're going to relax into it, you're just going to put your arms down and you're going to let gravity do its job. Try to keep a straight back and relax into the pose. Remember to keep your toes pointing up towards the ceiling, and then that's it. Now what we want to do at this stage is we're just going to try the pose out just to see how it feels. Move around a little to see which bits are tight, which bits are causing you problems, and get an idea of where your body is, because we're going to come back to this. So just go forward till it's comfortable and just rest there for a few seconds. And just before we go on to the next moves, this is where we're going to do the variations. If it's easier for you, you're very welcome to bend your knees. And you can do this in Paschimottanasana. If you bend your knees, it's best to have something underneath them to support them, okay? And some people, bending the knee is going to allow them to come forward a little bit further, right? I can get just that little bit further. You're still getting the stretch on the hamstring, but you're giving yourself a bit more chance to come forward. Now, the depth of the position, like always, is not really that important, but if it's more comfortable for you, depending on your body's type and shape and size and ability, is if you want to put those cushions underneath. And again, as I said, if you have a third cushion, if you want to put something under your butt to give you that extra level, that extra little bit of lift, if you do that, make sure you have cushions under your knees, because otherwise you're going to tend to hyperextend the knee, which is not good. We don't want to do that. And as we go forward, as I said, feel your body, feel where it's comfortable, and listen to the warning signs of overstretching and causing damage. Okay, so you've got an idea of where you are in the pose and how much you can achieve at the moment. So what we're going to do now is do some preparatory poses. First one we're going to do is Agnistambhasana. Okay, so Agni means fire, Stamba means statue. In the West, this is called either the fire log or sometimes it's called the double pigeon. And it's a difficult pose, I'm not going to lie to you, but it's one of those that you see really quick results, and gravity is going to do this for you. So grab a couple of cushions just in case you need them. I'm going to show you without the cushion because that's how I do it to start with, it's just me. Now basically what you're going to do is you're going to have your legs, we'll start with the right leg. Your leg is going to be, the shin is going to be parallel with your chest. So it's straight forward and there's a 90-degree angle between your shin and your foot, okay? Then you're going to do the same position with your left leg, goes on top of your right knee and has that same angle. Now, you look at me here, this is crazy. To see how high I am, that's just the way my body type is. If you're more comfortable doing it, you're very welcome to put a cushion under there and another one under there, or a block. Where's my block? Here it is. Or a block. But what I'm going to suggest to you is that you don't, and you just let gravity take over. Now, watch this over the course of a couple of minutes. I'm tight here, but this is just naturally with gravity. This leg is stiff, so it's forcing the foot down, which is in turn putting weight on this knee, which is forcing that knee down. Nothing drastic, nothing dangerous, and you take your time with it. And eventually, this knee will come on the floor. This one will still be up a little bit, but you're going to watch, and the more you relax, the more gravity will take over and the lower you'll sink into the pose. You can have your hands behind you to relieve the pressure a little bit, down to the side, wherever's comfortable for you, but just sit here for a little while and let the pose take over. Now, when you feel the legs have moved as much as they're going to go in this particular try, we can swap them out. So lean yourself back a bit, lift the top leg down gently and slowly, straighten the other leg. I like to just straighten my legs first, just give them a little of a wobble, just to release that. Then we're going to do the opposite action. We're just going to bring that knee down to the floor on the inside. Same with this one, and then it's nice and relaxed. Then we're going to reverse. So this time we'll have the left leg come in first. Keep that parallel with your chest, and then this right knee will go on top of the left. Now, you can see straight away, because of the stretch we did before, the left knee is already on the floor. It's this one that's a little high. So the same thing, we're going to relax into it. What you can also do is, like with the Prasarita Konasana, we can use our adductor muscles to pull down, just gently, don't overstretch or strain anything. Use it for a couple of seconds to pull down, then release. This position is about gravity. Just let gravity take over and relax into it. Now, as with all of these poses, you spend as much time as you want. You can spend 10-15 minutes just letting gravity, but if it comes to a point where you think it's gone as far as it's going to go, then let's not push it. If you feel any discomfort, the same with anything else, just at any time, just come out. So let's say we've gone as far as we're going to go, and again, just nice and gently lift off, straighten the legs, have a little flexation, bring it up, slowly, gently bring it in for the opposite action, just to release that tension. Now, let's do a little bit of anatomy. Ignore for a moment the depth of the pose. Upavishta Konasana is going to give us the stretch to these muscles, just as if we were doing it like this. Piriformis, the superior and inferior gemellus muscles, and the obturator internus. We're going to explode those in a minute and have a closer look at them. And also have a look, see bicep femoris. This is one of the 3 hamstring muscles, and we're also going to have a closer look at those. So in this other view, we see the other two muscles of the hamstring, the semitendinosus and the semimembranous. We can also see the gracilis, which we talked about, and the two muscles of the lower leg, the gastrocnemius, that double-headed muscle, and the soleus. So here are the hamstrings. As we said, the semitendinous, the semimembranous, and the bicep femoris, and they attach to the top of the lower leg. Then they attach, their point of origin is in the tuberosis, as we talked about before, the very bottom of your sit bone. And this is interesting because, as with all the muscles, it's not that straightforward, and the movement that we give within the pose stretches different parts of what is collectively known as a hamstring. Here's a closer look at the 6 deep muscles within the pelvis. These are extra muscles that are stretched in Upavishta, but are not stretched in Paschimottanasana. This is why we do this particular stretch. They are the piriformis, the superior and inferior gemellus, and the internal obturator. Now these are what give us all the hip stability and the rotation of our femur. These are very important muscles, and as uncomfortable as this stretch is, it's very, very worthwhile. Agnistambhasana, in addition to our Upavishta, also stretches the piriformis, the superior and inferior gemellus, and the internal obturator, but in addition it stretches the quadratus femoris and the external obturator. So these muscles give us stability and rotation of the leg, and they're not the sort of muscles that we use in everyday life. So doing these poses is giving us an extra bit of stability and range of movement that's going to help us basically in everything we do, sitting, standing, walking, and of course in doing some of these crazy poses. Right, so now we understand the muscles that are involved in this forward stretch. What we're going to do now is a variation. It's called Prasarita Padottanasana. Just kidding. It's an Ashtanga move. That's why the name is so horrible, I believe. Basically what we're going to do is do exactly the same move as the Upavishta, but from standing up. And what this will do is allow us to utilize gravity to help pull us forward into the stretch. So all we do, traditionally you jump out, but there's absolutely no reason why you should. You're going to get the angle pretty much as you had it when you were seated, okay? So the same sort of angle. Wherever's comfortable for you, play with it. Feel where you're starting to stretch, okay? But you also want to be aware, you're supporting yourself on these. So your adductors are already going to be engaged. You're stretching your abductors are going to be engaged. What you want to do is your feet are pointing straight forward, but you want to push your feet into the ground. Be aware of pushing your feet into the ground. And your feet will slightly turn, so the outer edge of your feet is pushing into the mat. Once you're there, same thing, arms up, forward bending, forward fold, forward from the hips and down as far as you can go. Once you're here, you support yourself with your hands, and again, you play with it, you go as far as you can. You can tuck down, you can put your elbows, you can use a block to lean on, whatever you want, whatever is comfortable for you. But the point of the thing is, naturally, as gravity takes over, your legs will widen a little bit and allow them to widen within your comfort range. But also, if you take the weight off of your hands, you will naturally fold a little bit further forward. Eventually, you'll get your head on the ground, possibly. One of the variations is to move your hands backwards so your upper arms are parallel with the floor. There are variations where you grab the toes. There's a variation when you do a rear, show you, the rear prayer mudra, which I can barely do. But for now, all you need to do is to have that nice wide angle and allow gravity to just bring you down to wherever you are comfortable, and then just sit there for a while and let gravity do its thing.
Once we've finished that stretch, once we've had about as much as we can take from this ridiculously named position, we want to come up nice and safe. So what I do is I shift my weight forward onto my toes, move my heels in, shift my weight back onto my heels, move my toes in, and so on and so forth until you come into a nice position where you're firmly on your legs and you can straighten up again. The reason being is that your legs get very stiff there, and you don't want to come up too quickly and strain anything or just lose your balance. Once you're done, best thing to do again is, as I said before, just stretch out, give those legs a little shake, and then do the old counter action and the side there again. That's it. Now we're going to go back to the original position and have a look and see if we notice any difference. Right, so what we do, as with before, we go back to the position that we were doing. Again, the blanket around about halfway. Sit your ass down on there, open up into the position. And the purpose of this is purely just to see if you've made any progress, because it is nice to feel that you're getting somewhere. I've spent all day making this video, so I haven't actually stretched as much as I should have done or would have done normally. If you follow the program exactly as I've given it to you, you will notice a difference. But just to reiterate, when you're here, you in this position, you're allowing gravity to take over, you're feeling your body, where it's tight, explore, go to the edge of the limit of your discomfort, stop there, relax, breathe, think about something else. After a while, the discomfort will ebb a little bit and you can go a little bit further. It's about taking the time. Yoga's small gains over a long period of time. But as explained, everything opening out inside your hips and your hamstrings and your adductor muscles is just going to make sitting, lying, walking, everything just that little bit easier. So that's it. That's it. You consider yourself Upavishta. Tomorrow I was going to go straight into the sun salutation, but I've decided to make a small number of little videos which explain each position individually, so that we can get the full benefit of the sun salutation when we do it. So after this, you'll see chair Uttanasana, you'll see Ardha Mukha Shavasana, or downward dog, you'll see Bhujangasana, which is cobra, or up dog is a variation we're going to do. And what else are we going to do? We're going to do plank and chaturanga dandasana. Now each video will take 5 minutes, I'd say. It's worth doing them, and it will start to explain the reason why we've started with all these hip openers, as they call them, and these leg stretches and the hamstring stretches and everything else. So, see you next time. Thanks for watching. Carry on.